Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Craftmania, and today I'm introducing this week's die of the week. Now, for the first time ever, we are bringing you a paper cuts die as your die of the week. Now, I have always been a huge fan of the paper cuts family. These were all designed by Kathy Shuttleworth, and her attention to detail is just incredible. Now, you might know Kathy from being the designer behind companies like Pink Ink, and she also does all of the paper cuts designs as well. She's an incredible artist and just a true talent, and that comes through genuinely in the work that she creates in her dies too. So when we're having a little look at this one, this is our Lovebirds die. Please excuse the glare, we've got a little bit of lighting going on here, but this is the Lovebirds set of dies. Now in here we actually receive 5 dies. Now we'll break this down in a moment and I'll take you through what all of them 5 dies do and why you've got them in your set. But to be honest, whenever we're doing a die of the week, it's all about our special pricing for you. Now this die should be £14.50, and I think you can see why. It's a large format die, there's lots of components to it, and you can achieve a lot of results with it. So it's certainly worth every penny of your £14.50. But actually, we have it on an amazing offer for you. Being our die of the week, this die is only £6.50. So you are literally saving more than you are spending, which is what I always love to see. And on top of that, if you do live within the UK, your P&P is completely free because it's over that magical £5 threshold. So if you're new to us at Craftmania, anytime you spend over £5, your P&P is completely free for your UK delivery. If you're watching from around the world and you too would like to get your hands on this die or any of the products we sell at Craftmania, then no problem, your P&P is capped at just £10. If you'd like to know more about how your P&P works for international or UK, then pop onto the Craftmania website, which is www.craftmaniacrafts.com, and have a little look under the customer service tab. Now for this die, you're going to need to find this under the YouTube tab. So if you go onto a desktop computer and you go to the website, you will find the word YouTube wrote in the menu bar that goes across the screen. If you're on a mobile device or an iPad, something similar to that, then you might have a drop-down menu. Once again, click the drop-down menu wherever you see the word YouTube. Give it a click and it will take you through to our dedicated YouTube page, where on that page you will find a little box for every YouTube video we bring you, and this one is no exception. You will see the die and it will tell you die of the week. If you click onto that, it will take you through and you will not only find, of course, your die of the week, but all of the items on the cards I'm going to be sharing with you. So maybe that's the pens I've coloured in with, or the inks that I've used, or the stamps in the background. Everything will be on that page for you. If you have any questions, then please don't hesitate to let me know. Or if you didn't quite catch the website address, then again, you can click the link in the description to this video. So let's delve on in and have a little look at what you could be creating with our lovely die of the week. So first of all, let's have a little look at what our 5 dies are and how they're going to work for us to give us that incredible ability to create unique effects. So the main focal, of course, is our lovely Lovebirds. Now this is one large die, as you can see, but don't just treat it as one die. This is very easy once cut to snip items off of, whether you wish to use these swirls for other projects, or maybe you just want to keep the birds and this lovely sort of half crescent as your focal instead. It also makes it easier to layer if you wish to snip bits out of it. So again, really thought out design, really good way of sort of coming up with different uses. You can also trim the birds out if you'd like to. So maybe you'd like to put a different wording in there or a different focal point or build up some flowers. You could easily take those out and actually remove them to have more of an open area there instead. Now, you might notice that this is a slightly different style of die. Paper cuts are very good at doing new concepts, and this was one of their sort of more inventive concepts, I feel, very clever concept. This one has this sort of half circle running across the bottom of it as the shape, and across the bottom here there is no die attached, meaning that when you cut this, it will stay on your card, so everything will fall away from around the edge, but it's going to stay attached on this piece here. Now, of course, that does mean that you can place this on the bottom of your piece of card. So for instance, you could cut it here and then you're going to have that panel fall away. But anytime you raise that up slightly, it means that you're going to attach it to a bar or you're going to attach it to the cardstock. Now you don't have to, because in with your set, one of the dies is a separate line die, and this fits perfectly against there for you to actually cut that out as a complete shape. So if you do wish to cut it anywhere in the middle of your cardstock, you can do. to take that part away, or of course you can guillotine it or trim it. But it's quite nice to have these little line dies, and we'll come on to that in a second. But it means that if you leave it attached, we can create like belly bands to go around our cards with this coming out of the top of it. We can also cut one here, cut one mirroring it on this end of the card, and then have that fold in the middle to create that sort of unique fold up. I was actually making, when these launched, I made some cool place settings or name plates as such by doing that double fold, folding the bit in the middle, and then using this open aperture area here, or open filled in area I should say, sorry, to write the name of the person going to be sitting in that space and labelling it in that way. So lots of unique ways you can do with, or creations you can do with these. It's not just about card making, it can easily be about home decor and party sort of decorations and bits like that as well, if you would like to. Especially being the lovebirds, that could be quite a nice table sitting panel for your weddings and bits like that. So maybe you want to use it outside of the box in which it's intended. Now the line, moving on to this bit, I know this is a small die, you might slightly overlook it, but actually having that ability to just cut one line anywhere you want to on a piece of card could be quite fun. You imagine if this was your card blank, you actually folded it so that we're working on this side as such, and you use the line to cut in here. You could make a little pocket and you could have things attached on the inside there. You could of course do this anywhere you wanted to and have things coming out of it. You could possibly even cut the line, poke something on the inside of it, and then have a pull tab to remove it. It's novel for me to see something like this, which is giving you that ability for a perfect straight line to be placed wherever you want to on your project. Now of course you could multi-cut this, so you could make little bands to put things between as well. So there's little ways that you could possibly, even on the insert of your card, make a little panel, cut a couple of lines in it, then tuck your gift card or your money, if you're sending money or a gift card to that recipient, inside it. So I think this, although it might be overlooked, actually has a whole host of ideas that could be really beneficial from it. Then moving on from there, other little accessory dies that are in with this one. You have got a little with love die, and you have got two little hearts as well. So again, if you want to build up on your design, you want to layer the hearts that you'll find within the image of the actual die cut. These are slightly larger, but you could place those over the top so that you could easily layer them. Or of course, the areas around the top here, you might wish to bring in those hearts. And the with love, of course, is going to fit perfectly on that little area down the bottom. So many ways in which you're going to use this set. And what I really love is the fact that Kathy has clearly tried to give you the best value for money by filling all of the areas around the main focal to get the most out of it, to give you as many options. So that's your 5 dies actually in the set. Let's share with you what I've been creating with them. So I stuck to very simple cards this week. Now, if you're new to the videos, you've not seen the Die of the Weeks before, you might not know this. I share these cards every day at 2 p.m. throughout the week on my Facebook page, which is Jamie Rodgers Crafts. So we've got to search for Jamie Rodgers Crafts on Facebook and I will appear. And every day at 2, you will receive a different picture of one of the cards I'm about to share with you. On YouTube, on Wednesdays, we give you a little sneak at all of the cards, but if you want to follow along or you'd like to save the images of the cards, it's a good place to go and see them. I also put links as a shopping list for all of the items used. So although you can find them on that page on the website I mentioned, if you're unsure about anything, you're going to get to see it on them links as well. So you might want to pop onto Facebook and like my page, follow it to see all of the different posts if you haven't already. So with this card, very simple, just embossed background, cut the die cut out of some black card, and then with a gold gel pen, which is something I'm really getting into the habit of doing, I've just gone around and added in some details, a few little dots, some stitch marks, and just had fun really creating and layering and building up that imagery just with that gel pen. I've added a little flower down here as well. Again, I've coloured that with a gel pen and just finished off with a few pearls, nothing complicated. Then moving on to our next one, you can see I was in a bit of a black and white theme when I was doing these cards, and I really love that sort of silhouette style with this die cut. Certainly doesn't have to be, but it's a really lovely striking way to use them. So very similar to the last one, just an embossed background, just a polka dot embossing folder, die cut in black. I've used a different sentiment die from one of my fairy dies on this one, but it just shows how interchangeable this picture is to go with lots of different themes. Then in the background, one of my favourite stamps has come out. That's our French script stamp. Again, you'll find that on the website, and I've just stamped that in the background to tie that all together. Then moving on, this one was shared on Monday, and I think this was very popular on our Facebook page, and I think you can see why. White on white cards are always very popular, and I feel this imagery again really gives that very fresh, clean, wedding-like feel to it, and that white work can work really nicely with that. So in the background, self-adhesive sheet over a piece of coconut white card, and I've used some glitter jewels to go over the top of that to give that lovely sparkly background. In theory, making my own glitter card as such. Then I've just cut in white and layered up, built on some flowers, and added foam tape underneath actual main panel and across underneath the strip here that goes across the card, just to give some differing heights. Now, of course, if I had wanted to, I could have left this die cut on a bar like this, similar, and had that wrap round so that this actually sat further off of the front of it. So it just gives you some different ideas. This is not the With Love that comes with it, but I have used a different With Love to actually add onto here. But don't forget, you do get your With Love with it. This With Love is slightly more boxy and a little bit larger than the one I chose to use for this one. I'm going to be completely truthful with you. I have this die set, I've had it for a while now, it's one of my favourites and I go to it all the time, but I'd lost my With Love. So before I'd got this set to share with you on today's video, I wanted to get on, so I've used a different With Love, and you might see that feature on a few of the cards. But it's nice to show you how you don't have to use that one. You can, of course, bring in other ones as well. Now, going back to that sort of black and white theme, but this time bringing in some gold. I love a little bit of a gold underlay. So we've done some gold underneath the embossed panel. I've also, as you can possibly see, I'll try and capture it in the light, I've sort of drop shadowed the main die cut. So I've cut the top one in black, the bottom one in gold, and just glued them together, slightly offsetting them. So that gold just pokes out from behind the black and gives you that little shimmer in the lights. I've added on a sentiment panel and a different Just For You sentiment, just again showing you that there's actually quite a lot of room down here. So if you do want to add more on there, you can do. And I quite like these sentiment panels on there, sort of breaking up that massive of area with something slightly different. Now, again, something slightly different for me and something I love to do is die cutting from Funky Foam. Now, we've got a great Funky Foam bundle. It's an A4 set of sheets and it's at a fantastic price. If you haven't seen that, you might want to check it out. Again, head onto the YouTube page and you'll find the Die of the Week page. It's all on there, but everything on this, even the embossing folder, has been done from Funky Foam. So I've embossed the background using the wood grain folder. I've gone over the top of the Funky Foam with some black ink. I've then brought in some gold gilding polish to go over the top of that to make that sort of distressed background. On the top here, we've die cut in green, red and black, and I've snipped the red hearts off and layered them on the top of the green, and I've taken the black panel, as you can see, cut off the top twiddly bits, and then added this to the top of the green one. So I've just layered my colours to create this style. That gilding polish just gives a more antique-y vibe to it, which is something I really liked. Added in just a few flowers to match in with the hearts, and again used the With Love die set to add on a little sentiment. Now, if you're not used to cutting in Funky Foam, sentiments are a great thing to cut. Funky Foam cuts like butter, it's amazing, and it gives you really nice depth without you having to stick loads of panels together. If you want to, it's also a bit of a cheat as well. If you do cut your Funky Foam, but you don't want it to be the colour of that, then cut one in your mirror card or something similar and stick that one on the top, and you've got instant height with that still being a mirror card without cutting loads and sticking them together. So it's just a bit of a hack that to build up and give you some dimension. It's something I really like doing. Moving on to my first one, and I actually had to look up what colour lovebirds were. You might know this off the top of your head. I had no idea. So Google saved me, and I've coloured in this set to look like lovebirds, or my attempt at. Added on the little With Love and popped it into a frame to just set that off. To be honest, I think I could have done with embossing the black card underneath to make that one slightly better, because it's a bit void of interest around it. Maybe just scoring it at every ½ centimetre or a ½ inch would have been nice, or maybe embossing it with a stencil so it's a more subtle flat texture, or maybe a traditional folder, but I think that could have done with something a little bit more in the background. But that's what this is all about, it's giving you ideas, and of course I could have shrunk it down to a square card had I not have wanted that area at the top there, which could have been another option. And then with this card, this one's a bit of a different technique for you. So what I've done this time is I've cut the actual die cut and I've coloured it blue with some oxide ink. And then I wanted to stick it down, but I wanted to use a bit of a cheat. This is something I've been doing for a while now, and it's a bit of a top tip. If you've got delicate dies that you want to stick down, but you don't really want to actually go around and put the glue on the reverse of all of them. Take a self-adhesive sheet, pop it down, pop your die on top, and then cover the area that's exposed with talcum powder. Now, normally we would do this with glitters or different products along them lines, but you don't always want a sparkle, do you? You don't always want something that's going to interfere and steal the show from the die cut. And that was what I felt with this one. I've got drawers, as we all have, I'm sure, of different glitters and different grains of powders and mineral micas and bits like that. But actually, sometimes you just want something very subtle. So all I've used is just some run-of-the-mill talcum powder. And I've gone over the sort of sticky sheet. Now, before I did this, so talking you through step by step with this project, I took my piece of white card, which is what we're going to build up from. I've stamped over it using the script stamp in the same shade of blue as I've coloured here with. I've then taken the self-adhesive sheet and put that over the top, because don't forget your self-adhesive sheets are transparent. So if you want to stamp underneath them, no reason why you can't. So I've stamped under it, put the sheet down, put on the die cut. I've then gone over the top with the talcum powder, and then after that I've taken the same shade of blue that I'd coloured my die cut with and stamped with, and blended that lightly with a blending brush over the top of the talcum powder. Now, you don't have to colour the top of the talcum powder if you don't want to, but I really like that sort of soft, cloudy effect that that's created. You can just about see the script poking through from underneath it, and it's all very sort of mellow and subdued in the background, but yet gives focus to this beautiful die cut. And this is really adhered down. There's no reason that that's going to come away. And also in the background, there's no sticky that's come through from this. Now, the talcum powder I had and was using was unscented, but actually if you wanted to, you could possibly add some scent to your card by using a scented talcum powder, which could be a really nice finishing touch. Now, you might think I've lost the plot slightly, but actually bringing scents into cards is something that's been around for a very long time. Even in the handmade card world, I remember about 20 years ago, they used to do scented embossing powders, which to my knowledge are no longer available. But we used to have a lovely one that smelled of chocolate that was absolutely gorgeous. So possibly bringing a bit of scent in could be quite nice, but actually for me, it's a bit of a hack to save me having to glue these intricate dies down or worry that I've missed any areas, because the self-adhesive sheet is going to hold that down, and then the talcum powder is going to remove that sticky in all other areas. Now, this again can be really handy. This die, of course, isn't too bad. There's quite big areas. We could easily apply the glue to this, but maybe if you've got like a little butterfly die and you want to make up a background of sticking butterflies all the way across the background, and you don't want to have to glue them all, it can be really easy to stick them onto the self-adhesive sheet, take the talcum powder across the top of it, and then that way you're only going to get your die cut obviously showing, which can be really, really nice. Now, as a little warning for you, depending on the cardstock you're using, you might find that the talcum powder slightly takes the shading down of the card. If it goes into sort of the grooves or the pits on your card, it might take that shade slightly lighter than you had before. I actually really like it when it does that, because it again just adds in a more softer, cloudier effect. So just a different idea for you to give a try when you're coming to gluing intricate die cuts. And also something to note with this card is I've purposely chose to put the die cut on diagonally, sort of, or on the skew, where all of the other cards have shown you it coming pretty much as it should be, going straight up. With this one, I thought it would be quite nice to show you how we could really take that in on different angles and build up different pictures. I think this could also be quite nice used on the corner of a scrapbook page, again, maybe for an anniversary or a wedding, something similar along them lines, because it's quite a nice large die. You could then again use the little hearts to dot around in the rest of your page to really tie it all together. So that brings us to, of course, talking about our lovely die set. If you'd like to get hold of this one, then as I mentioned before, you can pop onto the website, www.craftmaniacrafts. It's on offer at the moment for only £6.50, should be £14.50, and you will find it once again under that YouTube section. Click on that and head through to our die of the week for our lovely Lovebirds die set, and you'll be able to find this and then all of the other bits and bobs I've been using. So whether it's the glitters, the flowers, the funky foam bundle, or the stamps, all of them bits will all be in that one page for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments wherever you're watching this, and I will do my very best to answer them for you. Thanks a lot for watching. Can't wait to see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.